Pro wrestling. I never really understood how or why I got into wrestling. I mean, my pops loved it growing up, so even when I was born, it's just been my life. It just interested me. Word of everything, I've taken hours a day watching nothing but wrestling. Whether I'm eating, recording, cooking up a beat, it don't matter. Pro wrestling in all its glory is one of the most entertaining art mediums of all time. With origins dating back to before any of us were alive, it has completely transcended anything people would have thought was possible. Me personally, there is no me without wrestling. Call my dad a bad parent for introducing me to that and pro wrestling in general, but I needed it. In the most darkest times of my life, I knew I could escape reality by immersing myself in pro wrestling. While I was introduced to WWE first, my pops really broadened the horizon and helped expand my wrestling knowledge. He used to bring me these DVDs from an old co-worker of his, and those damn shows was crazy as hell. It wasn't just Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and ECW either. It was Dragon Gate, Noah, CZW, AJPW, and NJPW as well. On our little family road trips to Atlantic City in Florida when I was still a kid, I'd tell my pops to throw the disc in the Honda just so I could watch some Japanese death matches. Like the same time I'm watching Cena being a bloody mess and Eddie Guerrero getting cut too deep, it's the same time I'm watching Abdullah the Butcher in WWC. If you know, you know. Pro wrestling though just had these larger than life characters. They've always been my real life superheroes. Wrestlers like Rey Mysterio and Jeff Hardy were the Spider-Man of the comic books. I truly needed pro wrestling, and if my pops ain't introduced me to it, I would have still found my way to it. And trust me, I did. In Staten Island, New York, my home, the place I was born and raised, there lies a premier wrestling promotion, Warriors of Wrestling. Unbeknownst to some, there's a crop of talent working day in and day out at that fun station to become the best wrestlers in the world. At face value, Fun Station just seems like a regular arcade equipped with games, laser tag, batting cages, but inside that basketball court, there she is. I had the personal blessing from Joey B, the owner of W.O.W, to take a closer look into the promotion. First and foremost, Joey B is a wrestler's wrestler. While he's the owner of Warriors of Wrestling, his time in the ring shows greatly through training. While sometimes he takes a step back, he'll often get in the ring to make sure even the more advanced wrestlers have the basics down pat. Even with how wild pro wrestling could be, it's cool as hell to see that there's still people in the business that trust the old school way when needed. Looking through these lenses and seeing wrestling so up close, so personal, and so raw really reinvigorated my love for the art. Wrestlers who train at the school usually train for 3 days a week for upwards of 4 hours each day. There were several weeks until the Warriors' new breed event on March 16th, but the way they train, you'd think it was tomorrow. There's non-stop work and conditioning, even for those not on the show. My initial thought seeing them train was, damn, their cardio is immaculate. There was a wrestler still in his early stages of learning the ropes, so taking large bumps wasn't on his agenda. In his training instead, they had him run the ropes, which is to run repeatedly back and forth from rope to rope, much like suicides in basketball. And trust me when I say this, the ropes are not soft at all. For the more seasoned wrestlers, they lean more into the psychology of wrestling and put in more work in terms of chaining together different moves. Aside from their physical training, mentally these wrestlers are true warriors. I think one of the coolest things about spending time with the wrestlers over the course of several weeks is things like understanding their camaraderie.
Trust and communication is everything in wrestling. You need it 100%. If I don't trust you, I don't really want to be wrestling with you. But it's very easy to, meet a person and be like, hey, I'm a cool guy. As long as you keep me safe, I'm all for whatever you have planned. I'm a little crazy because, that's what it takes to be a wrestler. So whatever crazy ideas they have, I'm all for it, as long as I know that I'm not going to get hurt.
You could see wrestling on TV or go to a local wrestling show, but what people rarely see is the work that actually goes into prepping for them. Repetition, repetition, repetition. As each wrestler pushed themselves to the limit, it's evident that having a successful career in the business is more than just having flashy moves and a theatrical presentation. It's about the fundamentals. Every strike, slam, and bump is honed through each rep as the wrestlers build up their physical and mental resilience. That mental resilience, I feel like, is so overlooked in the grand scheme of pro wrestling.
Looking back at the times I gave them open arms, but it's my fault. I never should have shown my heart, cause having problems with your bloodline gets you far.
Not only do wrestlers learn to push past limits and embrace discomfort, but it could be mentally draining. More often than not, it really is.
But I'm glad that at least y'all got to witness. I used to scream in this mic, but y'all ain't feel it until I started talking to the mic like Tom Phillips.
Or from where wrestling once was, I'm so glad we're in the Renaissance era of pro wrestling, where you don't need to be 6'4" with 24-inch pythons. You could be a Bryan Danielson, a CM Punk, a Ricochet, or an Eddie Kingston. That's why wrestlers like Dusty Rhodes were so popular and beloved by fans, because they look like the common man. Dusty looked like a regular person because he was a regular person.
And we all had hard times together. I admit I don't look like the athlete of the day supposed to look. My belly's just a little big, my hand is just a little big, but brother, I am bad and they know I'm bad.
After spending a couple weeks with the wrestlers at the training facility, the time was finally here. New Breed. The show boasted a special appearance by former WWE superstar Chuck Palumbo, with the main event featuring current TNA X Division champion Mustafa Ali. We got there at Fun Station around 4 p.m, just in time for setup. For fans in attendance, they were guaranteed to see something special all night long. Now, I've stayed after wrestling shows where the ring crew starts to take down the ring and the whole set. But being there in the beginning, before doors open, this was different. With different people doing something different left and right, this is what goes into a show.
bull rope, but see my hands are tied. I'm feeling sanctified, but I hide behind a disguise. Ain't seeing no eye to eye, I'm seeing on seeing nines. Deleting, only leading the money of broken lives. Like yeah, I really hate the way your aura stays the same. I hate the way you change and I hate the way your face is. Bitch, I lost my mind and I still can't find my patience. I've been a lot of places, vacations overseas. I deal with a lot of things. Time ain't so allotted when you tryna race against it and everybody got problems. Silver Surfer fighting a war and don't know the cost. How you taking lives and letting the damage just run its course. With the weight of the universe, I can feel the geeks.
After some time setting up the show, with wrestlers running the ropes, getting to the top rope and taking bumps in the ring, making sure everything is safe and secure, it was finally time for the show to start. I was also given blessings from Joey B and the Warriors to be allowed into the creative space, aka Gorilla. Before wrestlers go through that curtain and make their way out to the ring, they all stay behind as other wrestlers go on and prep for their own. Whether it's getting a good pump in, stretching, eating, hydrating, socializing, and or putting on makeup and face paint, this is a space to do it. Seeing Gorilla, a majority of the wrestlers choreograph their matches happening later on in the evening. There'll be spots where wrestlers often call it in the ring, but bigger spots or moments are usually handled prior to getting in the ring.
I just keep my body in shape, keep wrestling. Sometimes I go to my high school and I even practice with the kids there. And just keeping myself in shape, A lot of guys nowadays don't do that and they get hurt because of it. So thank God I've never gotten injured and I'd like to keep it.
By saying that pro wrestling is fake, quote unquote, negates the toll that wrestling takes on the wrestler, both physically and mentally. There were 2 matches on the pre-show, and all the wrestlers killed it. Since that opening bell, us in attendance were in for a spectacle, as they set the precedent for an incredible show ahead of us. As more of the matches went on, you could see the passion every single wrestler had. None of the men and women cared that they were wrestling in a basketball court for a crowd no more than 350 people. Because this is the things you do for the things you love. And I was right there loving every single second of it. Getting to see my favorite thing in the world, besides working on this piece of art, it means the absolute world to me. From seeing a different side of pro wrestlers and seeing them translate their love for the art in that squared circle is hands down one of the best feelings I've ever had. At any pro wrestling show, the fans are by far one of the most important aspects of it. At any given second, a wrestler's career can be altered by how the fans perceive a wrestler. You could have a heel, aka the bad guy, who's really supposed to be bad, but maybe the crowds might love him. You could also have the babyface, aka the good guy, who's supposed to be the ones that crowds cheer for, or maybe they just absolutely despise them. Going back to Joey B being more traditional, I believe he stresses the importance of having a character. who are you? As a fan, I know of wrestlers all around the world who are still figuring out who they want to be. And that's okay. But in W.O.W, a lot of the wrestlers have picked up on who they are. Take Mr. Darius Carter, for example. He a douchebag, but that's who he portrays with his character. And he doesn't walk around with a sign on his head either that reads out, douchebag. But Darius is just way too good at pro wrestling. And that's what his character shows. He paces himself to this ring with traditional ring gear, barks back at fans and gets in their face to yell at them. But a wrestler like that is almost lost in a lot of modern day wrestling.
Stop fighting women! It's okay! Stop fighting women!
You think you can climb a ladder? No, a real one. I accept.
He also does classic heel tactics, playing to the crowd.
Just leave her alone! Crowd, how are you allowing this?
Doing dirty moves. But this form of ring IQ and psychology helps a babyface get over. Now it was time for the main event. A triple threat match between Roger Mendez, Mike Detello, and Mustafa Ali. See, I love the many styles of pro wrestling.
By Gunther, well, maybe not. Oh my goodness! What the hell? The referee never saw it! No! Look at that! Look at that view! My God!
Dude, he just smoked the referee. Again, this is part of the head game.
But this match specifically had my favorite. But hear me out though. How the hell you gonna try to convince me that starting off a triple threat match where it looks like you gonna team up with the bro, but then you super kick his teeth down his throat to get the ones with the other wrestler isn't one of the greatest ways to start off a match like this? Like, this levels of genius booking reminds me of HBK versus Hunter and Cena at Survivor Series. So the match starts, and after the classic chain wrestling between Mustafa Ali and Mike Detello, Roger comes back from out the woodworks and hits them both with a clothesline. You can't make this up, bro. This is pro wrestling. When Joey B says Warriors of Wrestling, it's not just an indie show. The match that Roger Mendez and Mike Detello put on with Ali is a testament to that statement. See, I was supposed to be silent and just record, but I was cheering and booing in the process of losing my voice the whole entire night. As I was trying to contain my excitement, I was not holding back, as I genuinely saw every wrestler on that card enjoying themselves as well. This one spot right here had me losing my mind. Ali was about to hit Mike with his infamous 450 splash, but Mike ends up rolling out the way, and Ali, sticking the landing, rolls right into a cutter from Roger out of nowhere, bro. And then Mike gets up I need to cut her from Roger out of nowhere as well. Even just this little sequence that led to Mike hitting Ali with his picture-perfect Falcon Arrow. The men and women wrestlers on this card put their bodies on the line for our entertainment, starting from the pre-show and all the way to the final bell. To every wrestler from Warriors of Wrestling and to the wrestlers around the world, y'all inspire me more than y'all would ever think. You are all the living embodiment of what it means to be a superhero.
This is my favorite part of my world tour, where I get to tell you guys how much I love and appreciate you. I got that call a few months ago. It was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because I tell you from the bottom of my heart, shows like this, wrestling guys like that, makes me remember why I fell in love with professional wrestling. Not sports entertainment, not a TV show, none of that bullshit. Professional wrestling.
More love and more blessings. I'm less hardy, more
At the end of the day, this is pro wrestling, and I love it with all my heart.
We outside like DX in a fucking tank. The best alive, so don't believe what a vulture say. We top tier and this shit ain't even no debate. I ain't surprised that most of y'all is supposers making way for the taking. I'm super kicking for fun. I need a last man standing, think you clocking my funds. Drop the guns, bitch, my hands are fucking size of Rakishi. Believe me, you gon' need Stevie goggles to see me.